What if you lived every single day with the unshakable belief that no one is better than you? Not because of riches, not because of power, not because of how many people know your name, but because you hold mastery over yourself. Think of how much energy is wasted comparing, worrying, and shrinking in the shadow of others. Yet the Stoics taught a radical truth. The person who commands their mind, their choices, and their virtue already stands at the very top. Imagine walking into any room, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty that your worth is beyond measure. Wouldn't that change everything? The idea of acting as if you are the best can sound strange at first. It might even seem arrogant. But when the Stoics spoke of greatness, they weren't talking about money, fame, or achievements. They were speaking of character, of the kind of strength that no one can take from you. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the most powerful empire of his time, reminded himself daily that emperors and beggars alike return to the same dust. From this truth, he drew calm, not pride. To act as if you are the best is not to boast, but to recognize that in the realm of your own choices, no one can surpass you. You control your thoughts, your words, your actions. And if you choose wisdom over ignorance, courage over fear, and virtue over corruption, then in that moment you stand above comparison. It is a kind of dignity that does not depend on applause. You do not need to prove it. You do not need to shout it. You only need to live it. To believe no one is better than you is to realize no one can live your life for you. No one can dictate your character but you. That truth alone places you beyond the reach of envy or shame. When you act as if you are the best, you are not competing with others. You are living by the highest standard you can set for yourself. Too often people confuse confidence with comparison. They think being the best means standing on top of others, proving worth by winning or dominating. But the Stoics remind us that the real contest is within. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To act as if you are the best is to carry yourself with the quiet strength of someone who knows they cannot be shaken by insult or praise. Imagine walking into a crowded room. Some people whisper, some people stare, some people ignore you. The person who acts as if they are the best doesn't bend under those shifting winds. They don't lower their head out of insecurity, nor do they puff out their chest out of pride. They move with calm certainty because they measure themselves not by the crowd, but by their own reason and virtue. This is what separates true confidence from arrogance. Arrogance needs an audience. Confidence stands alone. When you live this way, you begin to see how unnecessary it is to care about every opinion or judgment. You stop wasting energy on envy or fear of being overlooked. You realize that the best version of yourself is enough, and no comparison can add or take away from it. The idea of acting as if you are the best begins with your mind. Before it shows in your words or your actions, it must take root in how you think. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." To carry yourself as the best is not about pretending or lying to yourself. It is about aligning your thoughts with reason and truth. You tell yourself, "I cannot control what others say or do, but I can control how I respond. I can choose discipline, clarity, and steadiness." This mindset builds an inner fortress that no one can break. Think of an athlete training before a competition. He does not wait until the day of the contest to believe he is ready. He lives each day as though he is already strong, disciplined, and capable. This belief does not make him arrogant, it makes him focused. He does not waste time worrying about his opponent. He sharpens his own edge. Acting as if you are the best works the same way in daily life. When you approach a task, a challenge, or a setback with this mental frame, you rise above excuses and hesitation. You stop asking, "Am I good enough?" and instead think, "What can I do right now to live up to my highest self?" The shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Confidence becomes a habit, and soon your actions follow your thoughts. To act as if you are the best, you must also understand that being the best is not about competing with others. It is about mastering yourself. The Stoics taught that the real battlefield is within. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means that your strength does not come from being above another person, but from being above your own weakness, laziness, and fear. When you carry yourself with the quiet dignity of someone who knows this, people sense it. You don't need to boast or prove anything. Your presence speaks for you. Think of a king who doesn't need to shout to show his authority. His calmness alone is enough. In the same way, acting as if you are the best is not about pride or arrogance, but about composure. It is about not letting small annoyances disturb you, not letting praise make you forget yourself, and not letting criticism shake your core. You carry yourself as though you already know your value. This is why the Stoics saw self-control as the highest power. When you act this way, people notice a steadiness in you. They may not understand it, but they respect it. And over time, this quiet power outshines loud ambition. You become the best, not because you claim it, but because you live it. Acting as if you are the best also means refusing to be ruled by comparison. The world constantly pushes us to measure ourselves against others, who earns more, who looks better, who has more recognition. But Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If your thoughts are poisoned by envy, you lose your freedom." When you act as if no one is better than you, you are not saying others are beneath you. You are saying you no longer chain yourself to the endless game of comparison. Imagine walking through a market. Some stalls have more goods, some less. But each seller tends his stall, selling what is his to sell. That is you. You tend to what is yours, your mind, your character, your actions. What another has does not lessen your own. To carry yourself as if you are the best is to walk into that market with quiet assurance, not shaken by what others display. You stand tall in the knowledge that your worth is not up for auction. This mindset creates calm. You no longer waste energy on jealousy or resentment. You see clearly that life is not a race where someone else's victory means your loss. You realize that by standing firm in your own nature, you have already won. This is a deeper kind of strength, one the Stoics prized above outward success. It is the strength of self-contentment, of not needing anyone else's measure to know you are whole. Another dimension of acting as if you are the best is mastering your response to adversity. Anyone can appear confident when life flows smoothly, but the real test comes when storms arrive. The Stoics taught that challenges do not weaken us, they reveal us. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold, misfortune tests brave men." If you act as though no one is better than you, you face hardships with composure, not panic. Think of a mountain battered by wind and rain. It doesn't move. It does not shout back at the storm. It simply stands. To act as if you are the best is to be like that mountain. Not arrogant, not boastful, but steady and unshaken. Life may throw insults, disappointments, even loss, but you carry yourself as if you are greater than those trials. They are tests, not definitions. When you refuse to be broken by hardship, you send a silent message to yourself. I am not small, I am not fragile, I can stand. And this message builds real strength. It makes you harder to defeat because the world can wound your body, but not your resolve. To live this way is not to deny pain, It is to place yourself above it. It is to see suffering not as a signal that you are weak, but as an opportunity to prove your strength. And in that stance, you show yourself that indeed no one is better than you, for no one can govern your spirit except you. Another Stoic way to act as if you are the best is to cultivate self-control over your desires. Most people are ruled by what they crave: food, wealth, recognition, comfort. They chase endlessly, and in that chase they become slaves. But the one who acts as if he is already complete, who does not bow to every impulse, stands taller than the rest. Epictetus reminded his students that freedom is not found in getting what you want, but in wanting what you already have. Imagine two men. One owns little but is content, the other owns much but is restless, always needing more. Who is truly richer? The Stoics would say the first. To act as if you are the best is to carry yourself with such discipline that no desire masters you. You eat when you need to, not when greed calls. You spend when it is wise, not when vanity whispers. You work not for applause, but for the virtue of doing the right thing. This doesn't mean stripping life of all joy. It means learning to enjoy without being chained. A man who can refuse temptation and yet still smile has shown he possesses something few ever reach: mastery of himself. And when you govern yourself in this way, others notice. They may not understand it, but they will feel it. Your calmness in the face of abundance, your restraint in the face of pleasure, will show that you are not common. You act not as a beggar of life's rewards, but as one who already holds something greater within. Another principle of acting as if no one is better than you lies in how you handle hardship. Most people break when life presses down on them. They complain, they ask, "Why me?" and they crumble under the weight of misfortune. But the Stoics taught that the way you meet difficulty shows your true strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote that fire feeds on obstacles. What is thrown into it becomes fuel for its flame. To act as if you are the best is to treat trials not as curses but as training. Think of a soldier. He does not expect an easy path, and he does not cry when storms come. He knows that the fight is his purpose, and each wound is proof of his endurance. You too are a soldier of the soul. Every setback is a chance to prove that your foundation is not weak. When others panic, you stay still. When others despair, you move forward with steady steps. That calm in the storm is what sets you apart. It doesn't mean pretending you feel no pain. The Stoics never denied suffering, but they refused to let suffering command them. They turned pain into a teacher and loss into perspective. To act as if you are the best, carry yourself through hardship with dignity. Do not whine, do not beg, and do not give in to bitterness. Endure with the quiet confidence that nothing outside you can shake what is within. When you do this, others see that you stand on a higher ground, not because the world made it easy, but because you made yourself unshakable. To act as if no one is better than you also means refusing to live by comparison. Most of our misery comes from looking at what others have, how they look, what they achieve, and measuring ourselves against it. Comparison is a thief of peace, because there will always be someone richer, stronger, or more praised. But the Stoics taught that the only true standard is whether you are living in line with virtue. If you are honest, disciplined, and courageous, then you are already standing where kings and emperors once stood. Epictetus said that if you want to be free, stop measuring your worth by things outside your control. What does it matter if another person has more gold, more friends, or more recognition? None of these things touch your character. None of them define who you are in truth. When you make peace with this, comparison loses its grip on you. You no longer feel smaller because someone else shines brightly. You realize their light does not dim your own. Acting as if you are the best means seeing yourself as complete. You are not in a race with anyone but yourself. Each day you rise, you ask, did I live with integrity? Did I use my mind and body well? Did I treat others justly? If the answer is yes, then you have succeeded, regardless of what the crowd thinks. When you live this way, you stop chasing shadows, and you start walking in clarity. You become untouchable, because your worth is not built on fragile comparisons, but on unshakable virtue. To act as if you are the best also means carrying yourself with quiet dignity, not arrogance, not the loud need to prove something, but the calm confidence that comes from knowing who you are. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome. Yet he dressed simply, lived with discipline, and wrote to himself reminders not to let pride rule him. His greatness was not in the crown he wore, but in the steadiness of his soul. When you carry yourself with this kind of dignity, people feel it. You don't have to demand respect. It arrives naturally, like the way people stand straighter in the presence of a mountain. Dignity is not about show, it's about consistency. You keep your word, you act justly. You remain composed even when others lose themselves to anger or fear. Ask yourself, how do I walk into a room? Do I shrink, apologizing for existing, or do I stand as one who knows he belongs? To act as if you are the best is to move without apology, to stand tall, not because others approve of you, but because you approve of yourself. This is the kind of strength no one can strip from you. You can lose money, status, even health, but as long as you hold on to your dignity, you remain unbroken. This is the Stoic crown, the invisible one that cannot be taken away. Another Stoic truth is that comparison poisons the mind. The moment you measure yourself against others, you give away your peace. You start to believe that your worth rises and falls with the opinions or achievements of strangers. But Epictetus reminded us that the only true measure of a person is how they use what is within their control. The athlete who runs faster, the neighbor who earns more, the friend who gains recognition, none of these diminish you. Their victories are theirs, not yours to carry. When you act as if no one is better than you, it doesn't mean you are blind to others' talents. It means you no longer weigh yourself on their scales. Your path is yours alone. A tree does not look at another tree and ask, "Am I tall enough compared to him?" It simply grows, taking in the light it is given, standing firm in the soil where it was planted. If you can let go of comparison, you unlock a quiet freedom. No longer are you chasing shadows, trying to be what someone else already is. Instead, you focus on becoming what only you can be. This is where real excellence is born, not from rivalry, but from self-mastery. The Stoics teach that the highest good is virtue, and virtue cannot be borrowed from another. It must be forged within. So stop glancing sideways, keep your eyes on your own road, and walk it with steadiness. In doing so, you'll find that the weight of comparison falls away, and what's left is peace. There is also the matter of control, the heart of Stoic teaching. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Worry often comes from trying to bend the world to our will, from demanding that people, fortune, or fate align with our desires. But the Stoic learns to divide life into two realms, what is ours and what is not. The weather, the market, the praise of others, these are not ours. Our choices, our judgments, our actions, these are. When you act as if no one is better than you, it's not arrogance. It's simply refusing to let things beyond your control determine your value. If someone criticizes you, ask, "Is this within my control?" No. then why let it wound you? If someone seems richer, smarter, or luckier, ask, "Is this my concern?" No. Then why surrender your peace to it? The Stoic approach is radical because it asks you to release the illusion of control. This does not mean passivity. On the contrary, it means putting all your energy where it actually matters, into your own reasoned choices, into how you live, speak, and treat others. But you stop scattering your strength on battles you can never win, like forcing the world to treat you as special. Instead, you find freedom in focusing only on the ground beneath your feet. And once you do, life becomes simpler. You see that there is no contest, no opponent, no race. There is only you, your mind, and your ability to live in harmony with reason. The last principle is humility wrapped in strength. To act as if you are the best is not to strut or boast, but to carry yourself with the quiet dignity of someone who knows their worth. The Stoics did not chase applause, nor did they shrink from scorn. They walked with steady steps, neither raised too high by success, nor cast too low by failure. Epictetus reminded his students, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The point was not to impress, but to live well, regardless of who watched. This is the paradox of Stoicism. When you no longer care about being seen as the best, you embody the very qualities that make others look up to you. You stand out precisely because you do not try to. You are calm when others panic, strong when others break, and free when others are bound by fear. That quiet resilience is more powerful than any display of dominance. So, when you act as if no one is better than you, let it mean this: that you recognize no one can live your life for you, no one can dictate your choices, and no one can rob you of your inner freedom unless you hand it over. You are the best, not because the world says so, but because you choose to live each moment as fully, honestly, and courageously as you can. In that sense, there truly is no one better. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to subscribe so we can keep walking through these Stoic truths together.